Welcome. Oops, Daisy. That's one. We're okay so far. And I know for all of you, you must be quite pleased that we've decided to do this ceremony indoors today. Yay! So on behalf of the Foundation's Board of Directors and all the service women and women veterans to whom this memorial pays tribute, I welcome each of you and thank you for joining us today on our 25th formal observance of Memorial Day. Before we begin, I ask that we join with all of our fellow Americans in a national moment of unity, a silent reflection, a full moment of silence in gratitude for the lives lost in service to our nation. So please join me. And again, welcome to our 25th annual Memorial Day program. I'm Phyllis Wilson, the president of the Women in Military Service for America Memorial Foundation, and it is my honor today to preside over this Memorial Day observance. Ours is the last observance, large observance in the National Capital Region, and we believe it's the best, because the speakers at our program are individual women who have served or are serving in our armed forces. We are especially grateful to be here today as we officially reopen the memorial after 6 months of renovation. It is truly a pleasure to bring visitors back here to America's only major national memorial to honor all 3 million women that have served and defended this nation. And it seems fitting that we have the opportunity to do so on this National Day of Remembrance. So thank you for joining us to pay tribute and to remember the long line of service women and service men who have lost their lives in service to this nation. We offer this humble ceremony in tribute to those who have given so much. And we welcome special guests, the Honorable William Scott Gould, former Deputy Secretary of Veterans Affairs, the Honorable Michelle Flournoy, former Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, Virginia State Senator, the Honorable Barbara Favola, Mr. Ray Alexander. I think he got a little caught up in the traffic up there at the amphitheater, but Mr. Ray Alexander is the superintendent. I see him, he's in the back waving at me. Thank you, sir. He is the superintendent of Arlington National Cemetery. Colonel Michael Benetti, the Arlington National Cemetery Chief of Staff, and the Memorial Foundation's distinguished board members and our ambassadors that are here with us today. And a special shout out to Steve and Linda Ellis, Gold Star family members and dad and mom to fallen Army Corporal. It's hard, isn't it? Jessica Ellis. Steve and Linda have so very generously allowed us to tell the story of this generation's women warriors through Jessica's heroic story of service. And we also welcome Mr. David Behringer from Virginia Humanities. Welcome also to the members of the military, the veteran, the patriotic, and fraternal organizations who are with us to commemorate Memorial Day. They include the Gold Star Wives of America, the National Society Colonial Dames of America, the DC chapter, Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, Air Force Security Forces Association, the Eagle chapter, Gold Star Mothers of America, the Honor Society of Women Legionnaires 20 and 4, the U.S. Army Warrant Officers Association, the American Lodge number 57 Freemasonry of Women, for women, Vietnam Veterans of America, Blue Star Mothers of America, the Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States, the Women's Army Corps Veterans Association, Army Women United, the Northern Virginia chapter, and the Department of Veterans Affairs Center for Women Veterans. Welcome as well to all of our guests from our corporate supporters and partners, Excelsior College, Team Rubicon, MGAC Construction, Susan Davis International, Cerner, and Hiring Our Heroes. Thank you to everyone that has taken time out of your busy Memorial Day to spend it with us this afternoon. Please stand for the presentation of the colors by the United States Air Force Honor Guard. The presentation of the colors will be followed by the national anthem, sung by Master Sergeant Sarah Sheffield from the United States Marine Band, the President's Own. Retired Army Master Sergeant, now Reverend Evangeline Taylor, will deliver the invocation. Reverend Taylor has generously joined us a number of times to provide spiritual support to our programs, and we are so very grateful. She is another stalwart supporter of this memorial, stepping up whenever needed. Present the colors.
Please be seated. Hear these words of scripture from Psalm 27. Though an army encamped against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war rise up against me, yet I will be confident. One thing I ask of the Lord, that I will seek after, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. Welcome, everyone. Please bow your heads as we join together in prayer. On this Memorial Day, our country pauses to celebrate the patriotism of women and men of our armed forces who lost their lives for the freedoms we enjoy. At this sacred place, we salute the women who with honor and distinction, the friends, aunts, sisters, wives and mothers who with courage and bravery paid the ultimate sacrifice. We turn to you in our grief and in our remembrance of those great women of every creed and color who guard and have guarded this country at great cost. Watch over those who have served. Protect those who are serving presently and those who will serve in the future. Help us to shape and make a world where we will lay down arms of war and violence and turn our swords into plowshares for the harvest of justice, peace, and safety for all our children. Bless the families, heal the walking wounded, fortify prisoners of war, and all those exposed to the horrors of war. Let your loving protection rest upon our land, O God. Grant us the strength to rise to the challenges of our times and to meet them in full faith. Let them know that you always will be with us. May we glory in all that we do today and every day. In the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you so much. At the memorial's groundbreaking ceremony in June of 1995, 27 years ago, a tradition began of having a servicewoman or a woman veteran from each service speak at our ceremonies. Why? Because at this memorial, we pay tribute, individually and collectively, to all the women who have or do serve. And so who better to speak for them than one of them? First, to speak of her service to our country and what this day means to her, as well as place rose petals in honor of memory of our fallen Army comrades, is Lieutenant Colonel Ashley Lee. Army Lieutenant Colonel Ashley Lee, a California native, received her commission in 2000. An aviation officer and combat veteran of the war in Iraq, she is about to graduate from the National War College here in DC. She is an attack helicopter pilot and has held a variety of important and challenging positions in the aviation community, including command. She is the recipient of numerous awards, including the Bronze Star, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and 5 awards of the Army Meritorious Service Medal. Please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Ashley Lee.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Ashley Lee of the United States Army. I'm a student at the National War College and an Army aviator. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "We must dare to be great, and we must realize that greatness is the fruit of toil and sacrifice and high courage." Memorial Day for me is a day to remember the toil, sacrifice, and high courage of 3 friends who were killed during our battalion's deployment to Iraq in 2005. Army Captain Joe Lusk, Chief Warrant Officer 4 Keith Mariotti, and Chief Warrant Officer 2 Stephen Shepard. Joe, Keith, and Steve were the very best of our unit, their hometowns, and our nation. Their names are inscribed on the bracelet I wear in memory of their sacrifice and as a reminder of the life of service I must live in their honor. Joe was from Ridley, California, and a fellow platoon leader when he was killed in a helicopter crash 10 days after our unit's arrival into Kuwait. If you would have asked me 19 years ago, when Joe and I first met, who would have been most likely to be a general officer, I would have said Joe. He was 25 years old. Keith was from Cecil County, Maryland. He had plans to retire after our redeployment and left behind his wife of 15 years, Denise. He was an amazing guitar player and an even better instructor pilot. He was 39 years old. Steve was from Purcell, Oklahoma, and was killed 3 months before the birth of his first child. He loved everything aviation and was the most enthusiastic and motivated young pilot in our formation. He was 30 years old. I've been told since I was a young lieutenant that our flag doesn't fly because the wind moves it, but that it flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it. Anytime I salute the flag, during morning reveille or during a military ceremony, I think of Joe, Keith, and Steve. I think of their families and the countless other families who bear the pain, sacrifice, and loss of their soldier. As I stand today in front of you and inside our military women's memorial, on this most solemn occasion, I'm honored to represent the women and men of the United States Army. God bless and keep each of the brave Americans whose memory we honor today. I place these rose petals in honor of and in tribute to the men and women of the United States Army who've gone before us.
Marine Corps Master Gunnery Sergeant Samantha Van is a 23-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps. Originally from South Carolina, she is a combat veteran with 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. Currently assigned at Headquarters Marine Corps, Master Gunnery Sergeant Van is the Operations Chief for Operational Contract Support for the Marine Corps, which means she provides oversight of the requirements and guidelines for the Corps' contracting activities, a huge job. She also has responsibility for the assignment of Marines in the contracting community. Master Gunnery Sergeant Van, too, is the recipient of many awards, including the Meritorious Service Medal with Bronze Star, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, and the Navy and Marine Achievement Medal with Gold Star. Please welcome Master Gunnery Sergeant Samantha Van.
Good afternoon, friends. I am Master Gunnery Sergeant Samantha Van, and I am honored to be surrounded by so many friends on today. Memorial Day is a humbling time of year for me. On this day, I reflect on the brave men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice in order to secure our nation's freedoms throughout the years. They are indeed our true heroes. I know that there is often confusion between Memorial Day and other holidays. However, for me, understanding the importance of Memorial Day keeps me focused on the severity of this job. It reminds me of the necessary and oftentimes dangerous work that comes along with this fancy uniform and the title United States Marine. When I look back over my own career and I think through the faces and the names with whom I've served and had contact with over my career, my sisters and brothers who no longer serve with me come to mind. I made the choice to join the Marine Corps at the young age of 18, and many of those Marines, like me, grew up in the Corps. As young adults and peers, we laughed together, we supported each other, we worked hard, and we learned things that challenged us both physically and mentally. I have also been mentored by some amazing leaders who have been called home, some senior folks. To know that their lives were cut short saddens me, but it also makes me grateful to know them and have known them. While stationed at 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, the command deck there, the halls would be lined with photos and placards of Marines and sailors that we'd lost during my time there. There was so many times that I'd be leaving or going to or from a meeting down that hall that I'd be compelled to just stop and acknowledge those Marines and sailors. I'd be compelled to just look at the faces, to read their stories. I'm certain that our commander kept those photos close to his or her office so that they never forgot as well. Although I can't remember all the names, their sacrifices weigh heavy on my heart, and it keeps me humble for the task ahead. Today, I am reminded of all of the service members that we have lost. And I pray for the moms, the dads, brothers and sisters, and hosts of loved ones that remain behind to mourn them. Our nation owes them a great debt. Every service member takes an oath that gives us a nation full of friends, which is absolutely fitting because in the Bible, the book of John, chapter 15, verse 13 states, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man would lay down his life for his friends." I begin today by greeting you all as friends, and I stand alongside other service members from every branch of the Department of Defense who I know would echo that sentiment. Thank you, friends, and may God bless our nation, and may God bless our service members. I place these roses in honor and tribute to the Marines that we've lost.
For anybody that knows me, they know that I'm an easy cry. So thanks a lot there, Gunnery Sergeant Van. You were choking me up on the side, and I'm trying to drink water and get ready for the next one. So we're honored today to have as our Navy speaker, retired Commander Sandra Lawrence, a native New Yorker, which you'll recognize as soon as she starts talking, I promise. Commander Lawrence is a 24-year veteran of the United States Navy, an information technology expert. Her focus was operations and security of command and control systems and command-wide networks. The first combat systems officer on the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, she led the department on a 6-month deployment to the Persian Gulf. Commander Lawrence is the recipient of 2 awards of the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, 2 awards of the Navy and Marine Corps Meritorious Medal, and 2 awards of the Joint Service Commendation Medal. And she is also a longtime Military Women's Memorial volunteer. Please welcome retired Navy Commander Sandra Lawrence.
I don't know if I need to speak. Can everybody hear me? I want to honor a fallen family member and a mentor who never knew she was my mentor. I know you people in the Bob Uecker seats can't see this, but this is my great-great uncle, Fernando Williams, United States Army, who died September 2nd, 1918, and is buried in Flanders Field American Cemetery. After my parents passed away, we were cleaning out the house. We found this postcard. And my great-grandmother, who lived until I was out of college, never once talked about him. And I wish she did. In 1983, as a lieutenant junior grade, that's 02 for you non-Navy types, I was assigned to the Department of Defense Computer Institute. We taught computer classes to middle and senior grade officers and DoD civilians. One class I taught, which met monthly, the last speaker was Captain Commodore, Rear Admiral, retired Grace Hopper. As a 3.5 years, hearing her monthly. as a young Navy officer, as a woman. It was just awesome. One of the greatest honors in my career was when Rear Admiral Hopper promoted me to lieutenant. And I have that picture too. That's my mom trying to figure out how to put the shoulder boards on. God, I was so young. Anyhow, so much of what Admiral Hopper said affected me as a naval officer and as a person. And I want to pass on 3 sayings that really influenced me. 1, loyalty up and loyalty down. You manage things, but you lead people. And the one I probably use more than my bosses ever really wanted me to use, if you have a solution to a problem, do it, because it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I want to thank the memorial for asking me to honor to represent the Navy today. I thank all of you for coming out and taking the time to remember our fallen heroes, of which I think half of them are on the exit ramp coming to Arlington Cemetery. And with that, I place these roses, petals, in memory of fallen shipmates. Thank you.
I have known Commander Lawrence for more than a minute, and I cannot believe she kept that very secret that she had met Grace Hopper. Oh my gosh. And if anybody in this room does not know who Grace Hopper is, Google it. This woman is amazing. You've got to know who Grace Hopper is if you want to know what America is all about. Next, we are particularly pleased to have Chief Master Sergeant Candy Snyder join us today on behalf of Air Force women. With nearly 26 years in the United States Air Force, you do not look like you are old enough to be 20. You can be 26, not plus. Chief Snyder currently serves as the advisor to the Space Force leadership on the readiness, health, wellness, morale, and quality of life of all Air Force personnel assigned to the U.S. Space Force. A stellar personnel and administration specialist and an enlisted leader, she has served at every level of the Air Force as well as in the joint arena. Chief Snyder is a combat veteran, is the recipient of the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, 2 awards of the Air Force Meritorious Medal, and the Joint Service Commendation Medal, and has been recognized on several occasions as the First Sergeant, the Senior NCO, and the NCO of the Year. Please welcome Chief Master Sergeant Candy Snyder.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. I am Chief Candy Snyder. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time. I want to share my story. Back in 1997, my actual BMT military training instructors who introduced me to the Women's Memorial. And we got to meet General Wilma Vaughn. And she is one woman that, to my heart, is probably my favorite. As a one-striper, not knowing what I was going to do, she helped shift and change which direction I was going. I joined the Air Force to change my life story, a story that I am not ready to talk about completely in this large group, but it was to become a part of a bigger family and to make a difference in this world. And with that, my services definitely allowed me that across all services, all service components. I have brothers and sisters in the Army, the Navy, the Marine, the Coast Guard, Space Force, all of our services. With this, it has truly allowed me the blessing of a larger family and provided me such a family that I never knew I could truly exist. And I say family because when we are in harm's way, we look to our left and our right to find out who we're going to take care of and they're going to take care of us. What we can do to best lift them up, and be our best selves. We do this regardless of our background and our life story. Memorial Day is important to me. I am the only Air Force service member in my family amongst a whole lot of Army folks. I love my Army people. And so my grandfather, who was in World War II and in Korean War, told me, "You will not join the military, you won't survive." 25, almost 26 years later, I am here. And why this day is important to me is because it allows me that additional time to honor those that went before us, as well as my brothers and sisters in arms that have either died with me or in combat supporting our mission. So with that, thank you very much. Please level each other up, take care, wrap your arms around one another, and help us just uplift each and every one of you. Today is a very blessed day, and so with that, I would like to honor A1C Matt Seidler, Staff Sergeant Austin Buren, Captain Leif Knott, and Colonel Fazerano. So with these rose petals, I lay them in honor and tribute to the men and women of the United States Air Force and all of those that have gone before us and will go in the future.
So I will tell you that we're an Army family in my family, and I have that one rogue son that went Air Force. I don't know, but I still love him dearly, and I'm very proud of what he does in defense of our nation. But boy, you think you raise them right, and what happens, right? And now I have the pleasure of welcoming Space Force Guardian, Captain Hydea Star Eagle. She's helping me with that name because it's not spelled that way, let me tell you. She is the Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Analyst for Headquarters U.S. Space Force at the Pentagon. We got some slackers here today. I'm sorry you have to listen to them talk. As such, she provides analysis across the spectrum of current and proposed weapon systems, technologies, and programs to determine solutions, requirements, and supporting intelligence infrastructure to successfully acquire, upgrade, and employ U.S. Space Force capabilities. An 18-year veteran, she enlisted in the Air Force in 2004 and was commissioned in 2016, and in March 2021 was inducted into the United States Space Force. A seasoned intelligence analyst, she is a combat veteran and a recipient of numerous awards, including the Joint Service Commendation Medal, 3 awards of the Air Force Commendation Medal, and a Joint Service Achievement Medal. Please welcome Captain Star Eagle.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me here today. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone for joining us here on this solemn occasion. Also, I would like to thank the Women's Day Memorial for the honor of being up here today to be able to share my story and speak with you. I'm Captain Hydea Star Eagle, as previously mentioned, part of the United States Space Force. As previously stated, I joined the military at the ripe age of 18, right out of high school in 2004. I was previously enlisted as a 1 Charlie 3 command post. 2015, I was selected under the Senior Leaders Enlisted Commissioning Program to direct commission to become an officer. From there, I decided to cross over to the dark side and become an intelligence officer. One of the primary reasons I chose to serve was to continue the legacy of my ancestors who have served generations before me. When I was a child and I met my father, he told me that no matter what dream I had, to always pursue it and to continue to break glass ceilings and to potentially be a trailblazer. I have the honor of being the first female Native American intelligence officer to transfer to the United States Space Force. And I am here today to share with you what Memorial Day means to me. From the battlefields of the Revolutionary War to the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, to the front lines of today, service members have served valiantly and with distinction defending this country. Every morning at 0830, a series of rifle volleys can be heard through the window at my office in the Pentagon on the Space Force staff. It is a solemn reminder of the cost of freedom, commitment, and ultimate sacrifices that our fallen brothers and sisters in arms have paid for our country. During my first deployment to Iraq in 2006, I served in the base honor guard at a forward operating base. It was that time I quickly learned the harsh realities of war. Towards the end of my deployment, I lost one of my best friends who served in the Army, and still to this day vividly remember watching my fellow honor guard members carry his casket past me. Performing funeral military honors made me realize that each and every member was first and foremost a son or a daughter, a brother or a sister, a spouse, a friend, and a neighbor. They died defending our nation, and their selfless service commitments continues to leave a legacy of excellence that we continue to honor not only today, but every day. In the words of Winston Churchill, we sleep soundly in our beds because rough men and women stand ready in the night to visit violence on those who do us harm. We must carry on the preservations of our freedoms. May they never be forgotten. I place these rose petals on behalf of the United States Space Force in honor and tribute of the men and women who have gone before us.
Former Radar Man number 3rd class, Tammy Barlett is an 8-year veteran of the United States Coast Guard, where she served aboard the Coast Guard cutter Chase. Her service took her to Alaska, performing search and rescue for the fishing fleet, to Thailand for tactical readiness and training, and to Central America. In 1998, she was on patrol in the Persian Gulf, performing military interdiction and diverting vessels violating UN sanctions against Iraq. After leaving the Coast Guard, Tammy earned a master's degree in public health, and she is currently the Deputy Director of the National Legislative Service for the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the VFW, where her emphasis is on analysis and consultation with Congress on issues related to women veterans and health care. She is the recipient of several awards, including the Coast Guard Unit Commendation Ribbon and the Coast Guard Meritorious Unit Commendation Ribbon. Please welcome Coast Guard veteran, Tammy Barlett.
Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here to speak with you today. The long legacy of servicemen and women in my family includes my great uncle, who was killed in action at the Battle of Normandy. This inspired me to take the oath. However, I chose to serve in a different branch than anyone else in my family. Growing up watching Baywatch and spending summers at the Delaware shore, driving past the Coast Guard station and the Lifeguard Museum, I knew the Coast Guard life was for me. And I was ready to live the core values of always ready and honor, respect, and devotion to duty. I felt empowered and up to the challenge. My assumption that I would stay stateside didn't last too long. I mean, when did the Coast Guard ever serve in a war? So with my parents' blessing, I left boot camp in Cape May, New Jersey shortly after I turned 18. Within my first year, I completed my training as operations specialist and radarman, and I was on my way to Alaska for a 3-month Bering Sea patrol aboard the Coast Guard Cutter Chase, a high-endurance cutter, where I stood air and surface radar watch in the Combat Information Center. I was thrilled. I loved the feeling of the freezing salt air against my face and being surrounded by others with a common mindset and mission. Over the next 3 years, I would return to Alaska twice, sailed to Thailand and the coast of Central America. I enjoyed my first 4 years of service so much, I could definitely see myself retiring in the Coast Guard, and I knew this was the life for me. My next duty station was Vessel Traffic Service Houston Galveston. The job duty changed slightly. Watchstanders like myself were like air traffic controllers for the Houston Ship Channel, the second most dangerous intersection waterway in the world. It was there I took opportunity to explore the Coast Guard by fulfilling temporarily attached billets. I spent a few weeks on the sail ship Eagle, training the Coast Guard cadets, and 2 Mardi Gras seasons singing on the front of the Coast Guard float in a jazz band called the Sarcats. In May 2001, my life changed forever. I sustained a service-connected injury that would shatter my dreams every time from the military after a long career. Like many women, I took off my uniform and faded into the woodwork. My service was something I held close to my heart, but did not speak about until I went back to school and joined the Student Veteran Association. Then I realized the importance of sharing my story. My career launched as I realized I want to become a national veteran advocate and find the same purpose and meaning in my role as Deputy Director of National Legislative Service for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I often encourage other women to share their stories and speak about their service. Memorial Day for me is to ensure that those who have gone before us, that we can uplift their voice, their service, and their stories to be told. I take these rose petals in tribute and honor of those in the Coast Guard who went before us.
Thank you all, ladies, for your incredible stories. It's my distinct honor today to introduce our keynote speaker, retired Army Major General Mary K. Eder. A great friend of the Military Women's Memorial, General Eder is a 37-year veteran of the United States Army and a renowned speaker and author and a thought leader on strategic communication and leadership. She has served as Director of Public Affairs at the George C. Marshall European Center for Security Studies and as an adjunct professor and lecturer in communications and public diplomacy at the NATO School and Sweden's International Training Command. Her exemplary service included senior positions in the Pentagon, on the Army staff as Deputy Chief of Public Affairs and Deputy Chief of the Army Reserve, and with the Department of Defense Reserve Forces Policy Board. General Eder speaks and writes frequently on communication, history, cybersecurity topics in universities and for international audiences, and is a sought-after consultant on communication issues. She is the author of The Girls Who Stepped Out of Line, Untold Stories of the Women Who Changed the Course of World War II, her most recent book, which will be available to sign following the program, and I can tell you firsthand, it is a great read. When not writing, lecturing, or traveling, General Eder works with rescue groups and fosters rescue dogs. So without further delay, please welcome Major General Mary K. Eder to the podium.
Thank you all so much. It is such an honor to be here today. And after hearing these stories of these incredible women before you, I think I should just say thank you very much and sit down. And if you didn't hear, a fellow said no. It truly is an honor to be here today in this place, this very special place on its 25th anniversary, which is meant to honor the stories of all women who have served, and at the gates of our national treasure, Arlington National Cemetery. Women have served since the beginning, since before the Revolutionary War, following their husbands, brothers, sons, helping out, doing cooking, doing sewing, picking up weapons when the need be, and they have served throughout our history. But it wasn't until World War II that our government decided to create large organizations to support and bring in women in larger numbers. And so in 1942, the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps was created, followed very quickly by women accepted for volunteer emergency service, the WAVES in the Navy, the Women Marines, and of course the SPARS, Semper Paratus, always ready. From where we are here, just over the hill, lies the columbarium. In the columbarium is buried Mildred Ola Rexroth, the only Native American woman to serve as a WASP, Women Air Service Pilots. Over 1,000 women served as pilots in World War II. They were restricted to ferrying planes from the factories to new locations. And what Millie did was pull targets for ground gunners and aerial gunners. Not something I'd want to do. She was doing this one day when one of the targets was shot off the back of her plane. And the instructor came up to her and said, "I need you to go get that target back." Here, he gives her the keys to the Jeep. What he doesn't know is she can't drive. She could fly a plane. She could fly any plane in the inventory, but she didn't know how to drive. And she'd like to tell this story of there she went across that field in first gear, hopping to get it back. The program ended suddenly at the end of 1944, shut down to make way and room for the men returning from the war as it began to wind down. Millie stayed, not with the Army, but she joined the Air Force Reserve. In fact, when she first came in, they were all told they would be lieutenants, second lieutenants in the Army Air Corps, but that didn't happen. The fight went on for years to get them recognized in veteran status for that service in World War II. Just up the hill from where Millie lies, in section 60, there is a new grave that is for Kate Nolan. Kate Flynn Nolan joined the Army Nurse Corps right out of nursing school at the end of 1944, in the summer of 1944. She wanted to be a air nurse, flight nurse, thank you. If anyone would else like to whisper to me, come on. The program was full, so she was assigned to the 53rd Combat Hospital Heavy Casualty. This was not something she'd bargained for. 2 weeks after D-Day, she landed on Omaha Beach with her unit, and because she was tall, like I am, she was having a difficult time in the waves. Not those waves, the ocean waves. She had to be dragged ashore because she was too short and kept going under. Then her unit got to work, and they followed infantry and armor units, not in the front lines, but close to the front lines also, although sometimes they were very close, through to the end of the war. She earned 5 battle stars for her service, and when she returned home, married the man she had met at MacDill, Jim Nolan. They lie there together. She passed away in 2019, and I was proud to tell her story. She also created a legacy, like so many families have, of her 7 children. 3 served in the U.S. Army, and her granddaughter served in Afghanistan. Further up the hill from there, in section 11, lies another person I came to know well. This is Stephanie Czech Radar. Stephanie joined the Women's Army Corps just as it was formed in 1942, and she was in that first class of officers to be commissioned. She spent most of her first couple of years in the Army at Fort Des Moines, Iowa. and she wanted a greater challenge. Now, when Stephanie was born, her parents were Polish immigrants. She didn't speak English until she started grade school. One of her friends said to her, "Hey, you know, what you ought to do is try and join the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, or as it was also known, Oh So Special, or Oh So Social." She applied, she was accepted, went through the 3 months of training in which their weapons ranges were at the Congressional Country Club. So she got to shoot up the greens. And then she was sent overseas to London, right at the end of the war, to begin some beginning field work. That's where she met her husband, a pilot. Now, right at the end of the war, she was given another assignment, and she was sent to Warsaw, Poland in August of 1945, one of the most dangerous times to be there. She had nothing of her Army identity with her. She was totally undercover. And she was almost captured by the Russians. But she survived, came home, they married. He was promoted to Brigadier General, moved from the Army Air Corps to the Air Force, and one day when she came home, he said, "By the way, I transferred you to the Air Force too." Couldn't leave you behind. So they were the command team. Now there's another woman I have come to know well, who also was in that first class of women officers, and that is Charity Adams Early. Charity was the first African-American woman to be commissioned in the Women's Army Corps. She too wanted a bigger challenge, and after several years at Fort Des Moines, Iowa, from what I've seen of it, I would too. And what she did was ask for command. She wanted to be in a leadership position, and during her years there, she did everything she could to prepare herself. Finally, she was given the envelope with orders in it. Don't open it until the plane is halfway across the Atlantic. The moment she saw water, she tore it open. Looked and saw that she was to command the brand new 6888 Army Central Postal Battalion located in Birmingham, England. Did she know what that meant? Did she know what people she had? Now, mostly when you read about units preparing to deploy in World War II, some of them trained together for 2 to 3 years. She didn't meet her soldiers until they arrived. 855 women in this unit. Their mission, to stop the backlog of mail and get it moving again. Because of the pace of operations on the continent, some mail had been held up for up to 2 years. She gets her soldiers, they look in the warehouses, stacked to the roof, 17 million pieces of mail. And yes, there are little rat eyes in there in the dark because there are Christmas packages from two years or so. This is the only all-woman, African-American woman unit to deploy in World War II. They were given 6 months to do this mission. Other units had failed before. It took them 3. What happens in the Army when you do well? You get more to do, yes. So they were sent to France to then do diplomatic mail and get it moving. It took them only 3 months. Now, Charity is not buried here at Arlington. She lies in Dayton, Ohio with her family. But 14 of her soldiers are. There is one other woman I would like to mention to you who is also not buried here. Now, she wanted to join the Army, but she wasn't old enough. Betty Robarts was a championship swimmer in college, and she was bored with college. She realized there was no chance of going to the Olympics, and so what she did was tell her dad, "Well, would you sign for me to go in the Navy?" And he said, I'll sign for you, Betty, but you're going to complete this. You've never completed anything in your life. Ooh, that sounded like my dad right there. So she joined the Navy, not knowing what she was going to do. And I've spoken with Betty. Betty didn't pass away until just a few months ago. And one of the things she said to me was, "You know, I didn't do half as much as some of these people that you've written about." And I said, "Yes, you did. You were 20 years old when you signed that blank check to this country, saying, I will go where I am needed, and I will do what I am told to do and asked to do. She became part of Project Ultra, the Code Breakers. She was not one of the 10,000 Army and Navy women here in Washington working on breaking codes. She was in Ohio building the bomb machines that did it. After the war, she too married a pilot. There must have been a lot of them available. And they moved to a farm outside of Savannah, where for the next 20 years, they volunteered at the mighty 8th Air Force Museum as it was being built. So when Betty passed away just a few years ago, she lies now there in rest at their columbarium outside of the chapel. I'm glad I got to know her. I am honored I got to meet so many of them, as I am so many of you. We are here today for 3 things, and then I'll add a 4th. The first is to salute her service, which is what this memorial is chartered to do. The second is to tell her story, to share her story. And then, of course, we want to honor her legacy. But there is one more thing, and that is what is important, I think, now, is how we write her future. And everyone who serves now, for every story we remember from the past, we write her future tomorrow. Because of what they did in World War II, because of their service, their performance, their capabilities, on 12 June 1948, President Truman made women a permanent part of the armed services. And a month later, the armed services were desegregated. It was the performance of everyone who served during that time that made this difference and helped us all to go forward. So I would like to ask you to remember those 3 things plus the 4th, because every day with what we do, we write her future until there will be no more firsts, until everything is regular. It doesn't matter that it hasn't been done before. Women will always be there, they will always contribute, and they will make this difference. And I too have rose petals that I would like to place in honor and tribute to our Gold Star families. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you were all as entertained as I was. One other aside, which made me think about, what is it about our aviators that these women so love? But there is another woman that fell in love with a Brigadier General Air Force and married him, and she and he are both laid to rest up here. It's Brigadier General Charles Blair and his wife, Maureen Blair, better known as Maureen O'Hara. And she is here at Arlington National Cemetery as well. Her husband, an aviator, also flew over the North Pole, first person to fly over the North Pole. So I think it's the daring do of aviators that catch us all in some way. We're going to move now to the wreath layings. The Military Women's Memorial is privileged year after year to welcome a variety of organizations to pay their respects and to honor the legions of service members who have died in service to our great nation. And today I have the honor of announcing such organizations as they place a wreath in tribute to those patriots and heroes who have gone before us. Mrs. Marta Miller Dunitz, President of the National Society Colonial Dames of America, DC chapter, will place our first wreath. This is the 24th year the DC Dames have placed a wreath with us. In the early years, the wreaths were made from the boxwoods at the historic Dumbarton House, their national headquarters. Thank you so much, Mrs. Miller Dunitz. Lovely. Next, the Honor Society of Women Legionnaires 20 and 4 wreath will be placed by retired North Carolina Air National Guard Master Sergeant Carol Baker. Master Sergeant Baker is the National Director of 20 and 4 and the past Barker. Barker, where's Marilla? I'm getting her. Push-ups. We're Army. Push-ups, lady. I am so sorry. Let's say that again. North Carolina Air National Guard Master Sergeant Carol Barker. Master Sergeant Barker is the National Director of 20 and 4 and the past Department Commander of the North Carolina American Legion. Thank you so much. She wrote something in for me, and then, forgive me for the mispronunciation I'm about to do, oh Lord. Next, the Eagle chapter of the Air Force Security Forces Association wreath will be placed by retired Air Force Master Sergeant Kathy Wojcicki. Oh, cha-cha-cha. I got it. Eagle Chapter Vice Chair and Tidewater Wing and Eagle Chapter Secretary, retired Air Force Master Sergeant Rachel V. Or Viss. All right. This wreath also honors Air Force security airmen who have lost their lives in service to the nation. The Eagle Chapter has been a stalwart support of this Memorial Day program, placing a wreath nearly every year. Next, Pam Connor and Fran Porter will place the Gold Star Wives of America wreath. I can't even keep reading. In addition to being Gold Star Wives, I only have one of you.
I think there's one of me, sorry.
Okay, but you are a woman veteran as well.
Army Nurse Corps.
Army Nurse Corps. Members of the Gold Star Wives have attended every one of our ceremonies. Yes, give me a second. Thank you for coming again today and for your support of the spouses of America's service members and of our veterans. Next, retired Army Chief Warrant Officer 5, Ron McClendon, and Army Chief Warrant Officer 5, Anna Colquhoun, will place a wreath on behalf of the Lord Fairfax Silver Chapter, United States Army Warrant Officers Association. The Vietnam Veterans of America wreath will be placed this year by Tom Burt. Do I not have Tom? Vietnam Veterans of America. Give me a Vietnam veteran. Come forward and help place our wreath, please. Come on down. Next, America Lodge number 57, Freemasonry for Women. Please come forward. Thank you. Yes. The Women's Army Corps, Veterans Association, Army Women United, Lori Weissung, and Barbara Selden. Please come forward. take charge. That's what I love about it. There's space over here. Thank you. And lastly, I will ask Stacey Anders, President of Blue Star Mothers of America, to come to the podium. In lieu of a wreath, Blue Star Mothers of America have asked if they might present us with a check. Yes. Stacey, please come. I'll come down to you.
Yeah, good luck.
No, I
I'm also bringing our veterans from Minnesota.
I'm keeping the coin. I give Merlin the check. The next part of our program is our second tradition for our Memorial Day program. Beginning with the dedication in 1997, rose petals have been placed in tribute to and in memory of those who have left us. This is in keeping with the words from the 1868 General Order establishing this day of remembrance, to gather around their sacred remains and garland the passionless mounds above them with the choicest flowers of springtime. Each Memorial Day, we have placed rose petals for the women who have died in the conflicts in which America is involved since the last Memorial Day. It is fitting that here at her memorial, we publicly honor and speak her name for the ages. The total losses to date bring us to 177 women since 9/11, adding 3 since last Memorial Day. I welcome our guests who have the honor of leading this tribute to come forward and place rose petals.
I guess I'm starting. Sergeant Nicole L.G., United States Marine Corps, Sacramento, California, 23 years. Combat Logistics Battalion, 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit, 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Sergeant G died 26 August 2021, Kabul Airport, Kabul, Afghanistan. Sergeant G died as the result of an enemy attack while supporting non-combatant evacuation operations in Kabul, Afghanistan.
I have the honor of placing the rose petal for Sergeant Johnny Rosero Picardio, U.S. Marine Corps from Lawrence, Massachusetts. She was 25 years old, part of the 5th Marine Expeditionary Brigade, Naval Support Activities, Bahrain, died August 26, 2021 in Kabul Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan.
In memory of Chief Master Sergeant Tracy Zanette King, U.S. Air Force. She was from Rayford, North Carolina. She died at the age of 54. She's from the 96th 4th Support Squadron at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. She died on August 3rd, 2021 from Ali Al Salim Air Base in Kuwait. She died as a result of non-combat related incident.
And anyone in the audience who cares to place rose petals in tribute to and in memory of a loved one, friend, or colleague may follow me as I place petals in memory of World War II Sergeant Hilda Griggs, a member of the famed 6888, which Mary Kay Eater so lovingly spoke about. The Central Postal Directory Battalion, this was the only all-Black women's Army Corps unit to deploy overseas during World War II. The unit's mission was to clear millions and millions of pieces of undelivered mail. Ms. Griggs passed away at the age of 98 on April 14th of this year. We will be celebrating on June 15th the legislation that was signed by President Biden on March 14th of this year, awarding the Congressional Gold Medal to the 688. And I must say that I'm so very grateful that Ms. Griggs lived long enough to know that her nation had finally honored the 688 for her service and 854 other women of World War II. So, following the benediction and taps, I hope you'll join us for refreshments, a tour of our newly renovated spaces, take part in the Mindful Memorial Fallen Warrior ribbon exhibit down the hall, which pays tribute this year to the 7,024 servicemen and women who have died in the theaters of operation since September 11th of 2001. This is the 9th year that Armor Down has brought the Fallen Warrior Ribbon Memorial to the Military Women's Memorial. And I also welcome you to place rose petals in honor and memory of a loved one, a friend, or a colleague. And lastly, on the back of your program is information about the Military Women's Memorial events and activities. I hope we'll have the privilege of your participation for any and all. And please mark your calendar for our 25th anniversary this fall, October 14 through 16. If you know of a military woman, past or present, living or deceased, please help her take her rightful place in history here by registering her service with the memorial. It's free and easy to do online. We have a QR code on the back of your program. We're trying to make it easy for you folks. Please add their stories because we can't tell what we do not know. So put their stories in there for us to help be able to share them into the future. So please stand for the benediction to be given by Reverend Taylor. This will be followed by the playing of taps by Gunnery Sergeant Brad Weil of the United States Marine Band, the President's Own.
If I may take one liberty, I would like to place rose petals in honor of the many men and women who serve as chaplains in all of our services, as well as those who have served as musicians, with our thanks and appreciation. Let us pray. Gracious God, we believe that you will provide for us as others have been provided with the fulfillment of blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. We offer thanks to you, Heavenly Father, for having brought us together to pay tribute to those who have lost their lives, defending our great nation. May their lives live on in your love and mercy. Guide us, we pray, that we might be worthy of the sacrifices for which we have benefited. In gratitude, we lift our prayers to you. May we never forget how blessed we are as a nation, as a people, and as your children. Amen.
Thank you all for joining us today to honor and remember our fallen comrades. May I ask that we all strive to live a life to make sure that their sacrifice was not in vain. Thank you very much.